All right, Andrew, thank you very much. Now on to Ferguson, Missouri. Tensions are on the rise in Ferguson. This comes as a series of leaks about the fatal police shooting of unarmed teenager Michael Brown Jr. emerge. Some of the information from a supposedly secret grand jury hearing appears to support police officer Darren Wilson's version of the deadly encounter. And many who demand a trial are now concerned that there will be no justice for Michael Brown. For the latest on the case, our guest from St. Louis, Missouri is KTRS radio personality Mcgraw Milhaven. He's the host of the Mcgraw Show, and he's joining us from St. Louis. Hey, Mcgraw. So there have been two different leaks with almost similar information, so let's take them one at a time. There was a leak of the federal investigation. Tell us what that leak says.
Sure. That came out from the New York Times on Friday late afternoon, and that said that we now, according to this source, there were 2 shots fired in the car, and that Officer Wilson was punched in the face by Michael Brown, and that there was the blood of Michael Brown is on the gun, is on the hand, and there's gun residue on Michael Brown as he struggled for the gun inside the police car. That's what the federal grand jury said. There was also something else that this source also said that what he sees now, if there's no other information, that it looks like Michael Brown's civil rights were not violated. That's all new information.
Okay, so let's now go through the leak from the supposedly secret grand jury hearing.
Right. So the grand jury in St. Louis County, which is reviewing all the information, all of that information, 2 gunshots, gun residue on the hand. But this one also says that the struggle seemed to be bigger and stronger, and that the gun tried to go off numerous times, but for some reason, a hand was in the way. They couldn't get to the hammer, and that the struggle seemed to be much more intense. According to this report, Officer Wilson testified that he was almost knocked unconscious by the power of the punch of Michael Brown, and that while the struggle was going on in the car, skin from Michael Brown's hand was scraped inside the vehicle and was left inside the vehicle.
Now, in terms of witnesses, we have heard the version that Officer Darren Wilson has given, but we've also heard a completely different version from witnesses there in Ferguson, Missouri, including his friend that was with him. Now, more witnesses are coming forward. What do they have to say, Mcgraw?
Yeah, we should only say that we've only heard a partial. Officer Wilson testified in front of that grand jury for 4 hours, so we only know a very little bit if we are to believe these sources. And Dorian Johnson, who was with Michael Brown at the time, he's only spoken to the press for 5 minutes or so. So we don't know either of the full testimony. The rest. Oh, the other information was, according to the Washington Post, they had a story in yesterday's newspaper. Today's Thursday, so yesterday was Wednesday, saying that there were 6 or 7 different witnesses that happened to be African American, that their story happens to coincide with Officer Wilson's story, but that they're afraid to come forward publicly because they're afraid for their safety.
And all of this, on whole, seems very interestingly timed. Is the conventional wisdom that perhaps these leaks are to sensitize the public for a non-indictment that is forthcoming from the grand jury?
Well, I think it was we can only speculate. But the Justice Department today came out and said that they were very, very upset with these leaks. And there are many people in St. Louis who think that is akin to people being shocked that there's gambling going on here. If you look at the timeline, the Cardinal baseball season is over with. So there are no more playoff games, no more World Series games. So if they were to release this information, or at least this weekend, there might be a little low. They released this story on a Friday and on a Monday. And there's a lot of people in St. Louis on both sides of the story who think that this is softening up the audience for the ultimate decision. And the ultimate decision, people are starting to think that Officer Wilson will not be charged, and that according to the feds, Michael Brown's civil rights were not violated.
Lastly, Mcgraw, we're almost out of time here. We haven't heard anything from or about, at least on a national level, Michael Brown Jr.'s mother, Leslie McSpadden, but she did make the news recently. Briefly tell us about that.
Yeah, Michael Brown's grandmother and cousin were selling T-shirts in a barbecue parking lot. And Michael Brown's mother came in and was very upset. And according to reports, She came out screaming and yelling, saying, "You can't make money off of Michael Brown," tried to take the T-shirts and the merchandise. A fight ensued. 911 was called. An ambulance came. And so it seems like there is some infighting within the Michael Brown family.
This is unfortunate no matter how you come at it. Mcgraw Milhaven, thank you so much for the update.
Always a pleasure.